What is happening? Welcome back to another video. If you watched my last video, you will know that I'm having issues with my 72 volt battery. So let's crack into that and see what's going on. Let's see if we can get this out of here. At the end of my last video, I was having BMS cutouts. It wasn't from drawing too much power or low cell cutoff, nothing like that. I was just having random cuts. I spoke to the supplier. We both agreed that it definitely sounds like a BMS issue. So what I'm gonna do is pop this open and just have a look inside. Well, that's an issue. First thing I noticed. This is a temperature sensor. This wire popped straight off as soon as I opened it up. I'm unsure if it was just sitting there or if it was a bad connection, but it's actually ripped the plug off the PCB. So if that had a bad connection, it unplugs the temperature sensor. The temperature thinks it's minus 40 degrees, and I think that's what might have been cutting my battery. So what I'm gonna do is change some settings, turn the temperature sensor off, and I'll have to do more testing. Also had a couple more parts turn up from AE Bikes. It is the Warp 9 220 rear disc. Now we all know the rear hub has a weird disc bolt pattern. So with this spacer and this disc, we can get a bigger disc on the rear. And I've also got an SM Pro 19-inch front wheel turned up. So let's whack these on the bike. This wheel definitely isn't going to waste. I'm gonna put this on the other bike. So let's whack a standard disc on it so it's ready to go. Fresh tyre and 220 discs, front and rear. Easy as that. Stupid thing. Now when fitting a larger disc, whether it's the front or the rear, you need to get the spacer kit as well. Obviously the caliper isn't going to go back on. It's going to bottom out on the disc, and you need to take up this gap here with a spacer. All right, so the bike's all back together. If you didn't notice, I've actually got a bypass battery in this bike at the moment. Since I'm having troubles with my 72 volt, let's see how this bypass battery goes with the KO motor. Finally, both bikes are back in commission. Let's see how this thing goes with the bypass battery. All right, let's do a lap of the track and see how we go. Straight into the jump. Yeah. Alright, power feels pretty good. Way better than stock. Obviously, we're running 125 amps. Yeah, that brake feels nice. Oh, still plenty of power for tight single track like this. A bypass battery is still a good power upgrade, especially if you're not worried about too much range, or if you've got two of them, if you've got two batteries. All right, it opens up here a bit. Yeah, you can feel the power lacking up top compared to the 72 volt. But in this tight stuff, it goes good. Oh. Yeah, so I'm wide open here. It definitely lacks up top, but still way more than stock. All right, let's try and get a wheelie up out of here. Oh. Oh. Hanging on to it. Oh. And almost hit the camera. Easy. All right, so what we're going to check now is KO motor, 60 volt, running a 58.2 sprocket. Top speed, so I've got a slightly bigger sprocket than standard. All right, so I reckon my speedo is going to be pretty close. I'm just firing up an app now. All right, now this is slightly downhill. I'll see what the top speed is, and then we'll try and find a flatter spot. right, so going down the hill, I seen 81 on the dash and we got 78 on the app. So that was max speed. That was going downhill. When it flattened out, that dropped a little bit. So on 72 volt, that should creep us up to probably close to 100, which is going to be what, about 60 miles. All right, let's just have a quick summary. I know we really want to see what this thing can do on 72 volt, but you can see the top speed is there on the RS motor. All the top speed issues originally with the KO motor was coming from the MX motor. It had a lower KV and a bunch of torque, but it ran out at the top end. The KV to the RS motor is very similar to standard. On 60 volt, I was still getting a really good top speed, and that was with a 58.2 sprocket, which is bigger than standard. So the other thing I have heard about is the throttle issues. Hard to get a smooth throttle curve, and also when shutting off, it hangs up in the throttle a little bit. Now that's all related to this new KO controller. My nuclear controller has none of these issues at all, but I'm 100% sure that KO are gonna sort out their tune, and it will be good very soon. If you have a look at the guys from Progressive E on YouTube, and they're saying that the tune is now 95% there on an RS motor. It is gonna be sorted really soon, and I reckon it's gonna be a really good tune. All right, well there we have it. The new rear brake feels so good, especially running these MT7s. The bypass battery works well with the KO motor. I'm loving this setup. I just want to get that 72 volt battery back up and running. That's going to be it for this one. Massive thanks to everyone out there watching, and the biggest thanks to my members. You guys are legends. See ya.